We are here with Chris James, who is running for Arizona's 5th Congressional District. Thanks for coming to talk to ICT, Chris.
Thank you, Jordan. It's so great to be here.
I guess my first question is then why Congress? Why in Arizona?
Well, Jordan, thank you so much for that question. I live here in Arizona, so I've been in Arizona for almost a decade. I've raised my kids here in Arizona, and I really feel passionate about our district, about the needs of our district. So that's really why I'm in Arizona. Why I'm running for Congress, I am just so tired of not being represented. And I think a lot of our folks around the country feels like that. A lot of times we just don't feel represented, regardless of what party we're in. The person that often is elected to Congress, they don't really understand what it's like to be a father, trying to put three kids through college. They don't really understand having parents who are really reliant on Social Security and Medicare, where to a point that it's a struggle for them to survive. They don't understand what it's like to go to a grocery store and see your grocery bill almost double over the past 6 months. So, those are some of the reasons I'm running, and I want to really represent our district.
It sounded like it was just very recent then that just urged you to want to run for this seat, right?
Absolutely. Having conversations, really it started at the Reservation Economic Summit. As you know, I have the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development. We put on res every year. And I was just talking to folks, and you've heard me talk about leadership and how everybody should serve. And I'm up on stage and I'm encouraging people to run for office if they run for tribal leadership or if they run for local office. And then someone came up to me afterwards and they're like, "Hey, have you thought about running for office?" I'm like, no. And then the more other people came up and the more I started seeing things that I didn't like happening in Washington. And it really just, the fire started growing inside of me. And I was like, I've been on the sidelines for a very long time. I've been advocating for change. I've been advocating for policy. I've been advocating for our communities. So I would love to be able to advocate from the inside because I know how it works. And I think I would be a great advocate, or I know I'd be a great advocate, not only for Arizona 5, but also all of Indian country.
And like you said, you know how it works. I don't know if a lot of people know that you have a background in public service. I mean, you worked under the Obama administration in the Treasury and then for the US Small Business Administration.
Yeah. Yeah, I spent 8 years in the Obama administration, working in community development at the Treasury Department, really supporting our communities. I ran the Native Initiatives program, so under my leadership, we put out about $300 million worth of grants into our communities over the few years that I worked there. At the U.S. Small Business Administration, I ran the Office of Native American Affairs, the Office of Intergovernmental Affairs, and the Office of Field Operations. So really, I oversaw half of SBA's workforce when I left in 2016, and really helping not only our communities with capital programs, contracting opportunities, but all small businesses throughout the United States. I help them get access to capital, access to just opportunity, how to grow their business, how to expand their businesses. And I also had a lot of connections with Fortune 500 companies. I developed a lot of programs there to really support small businesses in our tribal communities.
And then also, I think part of that, your background too, like you said earlier, is you're CEO of the National Center. So all those three, experiences, your background combined, what is your plan now? I mean, you're advocating for education, infrastructure, economic growth. Can you tell voters like what is your plan?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I already mentioned the healthcare piece. I mean, healthcare really for me is a number one priority, because of, I mentioned early on, my just recently my dad had a stroke, and then unfortunately he passed away a few months later. But through that process, I'm navigating working with Medicare, because my parents only have right now Medicare as their primary insurance. So I'm navigating, I'm working with doctors and hospitals. And, and at one point, even Medicare, here's a patient who can't even move or talk. And they're like, well, his Medicare is going to expire. We need to find another facility for him. And just the lack of compassion of working with Medicare and dealing with that. I mean, Medicare is so confusing. So that's a big priority. As you mentioned, infrastructure is a big priority for me. I mean, definitely, we we need better systems, and infrastructure creates jobs. Infrastructure creates opportunity for small businesses. And when I see this current administration, when they are stopping projects, when they're not funding, when they're holding states hostage because of politics, it's really disappointing. So infrastructure is a big thing. Then of course education and workforce. I mean, you and I both know, we need more job opportunities for our youth, for our folks that are 18, 19 timeframe. We need new opportunities for training program. And then for folks that want to go to college, we need different pathways. Not everybody goes to college, so we need a pathway for workforce development and supporting higher education. But also, hey, we need to support our K through 12 and protect them and get them access to programs. And again, this current administration held Arizona hostage for months, not giving money. Not only Arizona, a lot of states just held them hostage by not providing the monies to those states that they need to keep that K through 12 education. So, those are some of the highlights.
And then, for the people who don't know, Arizona's 5th Congressional District is part of Maricopa County. It's an urban population, but there are a lot of Native voters there too.
There are the district Arizona 5 is borders Gila River, which of course Governor Stephen Lewis is there, and that community. A great community. A lot of tribal members live in the community, but there's other tribal members that live in the district as well.
Is there anything else, I mean, you wanted to add that I didn't ask that you think voters should know?
I really think, Jordan, that this campaign, isn't just about policies, but it's also about protecting our democracy. I mean, we are under attack. I mean, even just mail-in voting, seeing that being attacked hurts not only our native communities, it hurts our seniors, it hurts everybody that just they want to vote, but they can't take a day off to go vote, or they can't drive 45 minutes to go vote. So this mail-in voting is so important to protect. And hearing this administration attacking it, it's it's just sad, and frankly, it's scary. So, that's one of my closing remarks.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. Really appreciate you being here with us.
Absolutely, thank you, Jordan.